So you are going to live alone for the first time. That's a big step for anyone. And one reason for that is because now you have to start to manage your own finance. And to give you an early idea to help you on that, I'll talk about the costs that you as a Studienkolleg student will probably have. But first thing, we have to talk about the blocked accounts. So you may heard of that already, but to get your visa, Germany actually requires a blocked account with approximately 992 euros per month as of the date of this video at least, so they can be safe. You don't have like any financial difficulties during your studies here in Germany. But this amount per month, in some cities it's enough, in some cities it's more than enough, and actually in bigger cities it may not be enough. Actually, you'll probably spend 600 to 1200 depending on two main factors, which are location and lifestyle. Okay, but this is an approximation. Actually, I'm gonna break down the costs of living of almost everything you're gonna have to take care of. And also for this video, we're considering that you're gonna study in a public student college, so that means no tuition fees. So the first thing you have to consider is rent. Okay, this is actually the largest cost you're gonna have here in Germany, probably. And there are three main types of places where you can live. Okay, the first one is the student dorm. So this actually costs around 250 to 500 euros. It's hard to get this. Okay, you have to send an application and wait. So we're basically put on a waiting list, and sometimes it can take months before you get an apartment here, or even semesters. So this is the cheapest option, okay, but it's the hardest one to get also. But if you want to reduce costs, you have to prioritize this, okay. And the second option is to get a shared apartment or a WG. So this usually costs from around 350 to 700 euros. Okay, it's more expensive than student dorms, but still cheaper than like individual apartments. This is also a very common alternative among students. And the third option is to rent an apartment alone. Okay, this is usually more expensive. It goes from like 500 usually to 900 or even more depending on the city. Basically, the cheapest cities are the small ones, for example, Constance or Kaiserslautern. The cities where you can like expect medium prices are Halle or Karlsruhe. And the expensive cities, Frankfurt, Munich, basically the big cities are the most expensive ones for renting. And now talking about the other costs you're gonna have is of course food. So you can usually expect 120 to 200 if you cook at home. And here there are some people that say that like where you buy your things can change your budget like substantially. Others say it doesn't matter that much. I personally think that the prices are very similar, so I just go whatever it's best at the moment. But now if you're gonna eat out like frequently, usually you can expect like 10 euros to 20 per meal. So if you do this few times per week, that can cost you like 100 or 200 euros per month. So you can see that eating out here in Germany can be a little expensive compared to cooking at home. But there's a third option for students, that is the Mensa. So the cafeteria at your university. So you can eat in your university. And this is usually like cheaper than going to a restaurant, but more expensive than cooking at home, a little bit more. So you can expect like 4 euros per meal. But also this has its advantages. For example, it saves a lot of time, and this is usually important. And the next thing is your health insurance. So you usually can't get a public health insurance for Studienkolleg only once you enroll at the university. So we'll consider here that you get a private health insurance, which will cost you approximately like 40 euros per month, maybe 50 or 60 depending on the plan you choose. Transport can also cost you something, but here actually some student colleagues, they provide a free semester ticket Actually, it's free because you actually get it after paying the semester fee. But you can travel like across all Germany with this ticket for free. And if there's no semester ticket, so your student college doesn't provide a semester ticket for you, then if you want to travel across Germany, you're gonna have to buy the Deutschland ticket, which does this but for a month, not a semester. So you pay 63 euros per month. But usually the student colleagues, they may not provide the semester ticket like all across Germany, but they do provide you with a ticket that is valid like in the region, so you can travel between cities or inside the city like for free, and they usually provide that after you pay the semester fee, so that this Deutschland ticket thing is usually optional. Another thing you have to consider is your phone mobile plan, so it will cost you probably around 10 euros per month. And there's of course one-time costs, so basically arrival costs like kitchen items, clothes, and things like that. And also the deposit, right? The caution. Usually this here is 1 to 3 months of rent, so you pay before you move to your apartment. But yeah, you just have to pay it once, and you receive this money back at the end of your contract, unless, of course, like you did something to your apartment and this money had to be used. So putting this all together, I'm gonna give you some examples of budgets. Okay, so imagine a low budget student, like someone that doesn't spend very much, in a small city, in a shared apartment and cooks at home. So you can expect a rent of maybe, let's say, 380, food of 170, insurance of 40 euros, mobile phone plan of 10 euros per month, and an extra like costs of 50 per month. So the costs of living of this person would be around 650 euros per month. And now let's imagine an average student. So you live in a medium city, you live in a shared apartment still. So here for this, you're gonna pay a little more for rent. Food, not so much. But usually rent and extra is where it'll get more expensive. And it would probably be approximately 800 per month. Okay, here is like a medium city, and this would be an average student. And now a big city. So someone with higher costs of living and living alone in an apartment in a big city. Okay, this will be more expensive, usually around 1,200 euros per month or even more, depending mainly on the apartment you choose. Okay, now that we have these numbers, there's actually some things that you can do to reduce your costs, like applying for student dorms. Okay, this specifically, you have to do it very early. So as soon as you are enrolled in your university, in your student college, you apply for these student dorms like very fast, so you have a chance of getting this during your student college studies. But if you can't get a student dorm, then you should apply to a WG. Okay, in websites like WG gesucht, you apply to a WG, you live with other students, and then you can still save some budget. Also, of course, cooking at home will save a lot of money, and tracking expenses like weekly can help you with like managing your costs and seeing where like you're spending more money. So these are the main strategies I would say to reduce your costs. And so, final thoughts. The key here is to plan and calculate everything, okay? Also to check your expenses weekly. But now, usually your blocked account covers everything, every cost you're gonna have. This is usually covered by your blocked account so that you don't have to worry about that, right? Because you got the money already, unless you're going to live in a big city. If you do live in a big city, your blocked account may not be enough. So in that case, you're gonna have to track your expenses and controlling your finance, okay? So this is usually your life costs in Germany, okay, depending on the city you live, depending on the lifestyle you have. Of course, these are approximations so that you can like have an idea of how much you're going to spend in Germany before you arrive here. So I hope this video helped you guys, and I see you in the next one.